should be quite open like that. But, pardon? I was just taking some pictures of the police cars and I've just noticed I can see your screen through the window. See, like, obviously.
You shouldn't be down this far then, mate.
Pardon?
You shouldn't be down this far.
There's a sign on the door there that's obviously for public information, so it's not a restricted area. There's no sign you're saying it's a restricted area. Yeah, good idea. There we go. Yeah, that's it. We've got a sign on that door which is clearly for public information there. But, pardon?
It starts here. The moment calm turns into confrontation. As the auditor records the station's rear area, he calls out about an open window showing computer screens. Within seconds, two plainclothes officers emerge, asking what he's doing. Their tone is uncertain, defensive, and already uneasy under the lens. The auditor stands firm, reminding them that he's on public ground and exercising his right to film. When they refuse to identify themselves, he points out that questioning a citizen without showing a warrant card is a clear breach of procedure. What follows is a quiet power shift. The officers retreat, and the man with the camera keeps control through knowledge, not volume.
There was nothing down here saying it's a restricted area.
What do you want?
I was taking some pictures and stuff. I'm making a little video of the area. Local force. That sort of stuff.
Purpose?
Pardon?
For what purpose?
Public interest.
To go where?
Pardon?
To go where?
Well, for public.
You're quite clearly filming us at the moment.
Yes, yeah. I film any interaction. Have you two police officers, are you?
Yes.
Have you got your warrant cards with you there, since you're not in uniform?
Why do I need to...
Pardon?
I'm walking out of a police building, aren't I? So
Yeah, but you're obviously doing a stop and account with me, so I'd like... Well, you are. You're asking what I'm doing, which is, by definition, a stop and account. You're asking what I'm doing in an area. That's a stop and account. So if you're engaging in a policing activity, I'd like to know your warrant card, otherwise I'm just going to disengage from you and carry on with my business.
Okay. I'll crack on.
All right then. All right, refusal to identify. So I'm just going to get your picture so I can report you to your chief constable.
Okay.
Cool. Bye-bye. Yeah, so yeah, they've got 4 vehicles down here.
Moments later, a uniformed officer steps in, trying to take a more professional approach. But this time, the debate turns technical. The auditor asks why the officer failed to identify at first contact and why his body camera recording wasn't announced. The officer hesitates, giving vague answers, and the auditor seizes the opportunity, quoting College of Policing rules and tribunal rulings on proper notification. The exchange feels almost like a courtroom in the street. Every line is sharp, every pause heavy. You can hear the frustration of someone who knows the policy better than the people meant to follow it.
Hey mate, you alright?
Not bad, how are you?
How's it going? What are you up to?
Just, as you see, just taking some pictures of your cars and that there.
Oh, okay.
That's all. And you are, sorry?
Police officer.
And your collar number?
Are you an auditor, or are you...
And your collar number, please?
I have to give you my collar number. My identification is on my shoulder there.
And then if I can't read, it's not your policy to identify for members of the public?
Nope, I don't need to.
No, it's not identified, no.
Okay. Are you here to just cause issues, or are you here to just have a
No,
chat?
I'm just here to take pictures and that's all. As I said, I've just noticed as I was walking down to take pictures, your colleague's window was open, I could see the screen, made them aware of it.
Okay, have they sorted that?
Yeah, they closed the window,
Okay.
fine. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Cool. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sure we're not here to cause you a problem. I'm sure you're not here to cause a problem. We're just,
You know, your colleagues not in uniform refuse to identify while engaging in a policing activity. Not fantastic, is it? It's against policy, you are required to identify. You're engaging in a stop and account, you are required to identify, because if I have any complaints, how am I supposed to make that complaint if you haven't kept yourself to the accountability standards that the force requires? So, you know, again, you refuse to identify properly because, again, you don't know that I can read, so you're refusing to identify properly. Yes, you're in uniform, but again, if I want to make a complaint against you,
You can give the time and date and where the location where you are. My body cam's recording, so
oh, is it?
It can all be.
How come it's taking you this long to let me know that your body cam's recording?
Talking.
And is the policy not to, at the first most practical opportunity to
I think
allow
that was the most practical time to inform
was
you.
it? So because you come in like and gone hands on with me.
I haven't gone hands on.
Exactly. So why is not the first thing that you say good afternoon or morning?
What you're doing, because that's the first question I asked you, and then we've had a conversation, and now I've told you.
Yeah. But the first most practical opportunity is to say, good. By the way, you are being recorded.
Okay.
Otherwise, you could be covertly recording me under the Regulations of Investigatory Powers Act, couldn't you?
But that's not happening, so don't worry about that.
It could, because it took you X amount of time to alert me when there was plenty. The only situation where it's not practicable at the first opportunity is if you're going into a hands-on situation. Any other time, there's no reason, and this has been dealt with in the tribunal by the tribunal that deals with the REPA Act, that the first most practical opportunity is when you approach somebody. If you have your camera on or you turn it on, if you approach with your camera on, you should alert them when you approach, unless you're going hands-on. If you turn it on whilst engaging in a conversation, you should turn it on, and then once it's recording, so it's stated on the camera, by the way, you are being recorded for my safety and your safety, blah, blah, blah. You have the right to do it, same way that I have the right to do it. It's not a problem, it's the notification that's the problem.
Okay.
You know?
But I've notified you at a time that I think is practical, so I've done that, so it's fine.
Okay, you can justify that to a tribunal, it's fine, no worries.
So what are you doing?
So you're going to try to identify yourself properly yet?
No, I'm happy.
You're happy, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you like to identify yourself, or would you like a complaint as well, sir?
So, can I ask you a question? Before my colleague steps in, so my name is PC2376.
Thank you, so that's how it's done, thank you.
My colleague here was obviously made aware that the window was open.
Yeah.
And he's got concerns because of data protection and that you might have recorded something on your phone from the screens.
If there is anything, I'm not sure if there is or not. If anything is captured on there, that will be evidence for me to report that to the Information Commissioner's office, because obviously...
Then a female officer joins, calm, respectful, and clearly listening. The tension dips as the conversation finally becomes constructive. They talk about the data visible through the station window, the lack of warning signs, and how that breaches data protection principles. She admits the site isn't secure enough and promises to raise the issue with senior leadership. The auditor's tone softens too, respectful but firm, focused on the issue, not the uniform. For the first time, it feels like dialogue, not confrontation.
The onus of data protection is on the organisation, not on whoever sees that information.
You don't expect someone to stick their head through the window.
I didn't stick my head through. I didn't stick my head through a window. I saw it from a public place.
Somebody else's information. This is a secure site. Well,
I understand that.
It's not as secure as we'd like.
Well, no,
it to
exactly.
be.
It's not secure at all, is it? Really?
No. We are trying to work on that, but unfortunately, you have to do with what you've got.
Yeah. Even a bit of signage saying no unauthorised access beyond this point would go a long way, because I do respect signs like that.
No, okay.
I will take. But I did have a look around, and there is nothing there. I will
genuinely take that to the senior leadership team, because I think that is fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are trying to redo everything. Yeah. Financially, we have to wait until the budget.
That's why it's quite a small town, isn't it? Lower priority. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
We get shoved right to the bottom type of thing. We're right on the borders. Between different forces and that. So it is totally, I understand where you're coming from, and I'll pass it on to the senior leadership.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I've just got concerns about the data protection that's on that video. Do you know what I mean? Because that's somebody else's private stuff and that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we obviously learn from things like that. So you've pointed it out, they've closed the window, it is really hot in there, we've got no air conditioning.
Again, I completely understand that, but obviously data protection takes priority over that, unfortunately. You can get a fan in there, and I understand, I've worked in many various locations where health and safety data protection takes priority over that.
Does that go live? Is that a live?
It's not, I'm not live streaming, no.
If there is something, would you delete that?
Not necessarily delete it, but I would make it anonymous. I would blur it out if there is anything, if I were to post it anywhere.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
It's not their fault, you know what I mean?
No, of course. I've raised the issue I've raised the issue of data protection, and obviously I raise it as an issue because I do see it as an issue. I'm not going to go share that information. That would be very hypocritical of me, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
So if there is anything captured on the camera, it won't be made available to the public. It will be forwarded to the ICO.
Just as calm returns, another officer cuts in with a dismissive tone. The change is immediate. Tension spikes again. The auditor's composure holds, but his patience doesn't. He calls out the officer for arrogance, for ignoring policy, and for refusing to learn. The camera catches everything: the discomfort, the eye contact, the quiet authority of someone unafraid to call misconduct what it is. It's the peak of the confrontation. No shouting, no insults, just raw accountability delivered face to face.
Yeah.
That's
Can I
part of evidence.
take your details?
No,
can
I'm
I,
okay,
can I
thank
take
you.
your name?
No,
at
I'm
least?
alright,
Just
thank you.
first name so I know who I'm speaking to?
No, I'm alright, thank you.
So you've got my collar number, but I can't take yours?
Yeah, but as a Crown servant, obviously you have issues of accountability when dealing with members of the public, and
And
that's
I'm just
why.
being
And that's why.
polite
Yeah, I
and
know.
asking your first name.
I
I
know.
don't even know anything
But then
else, so I
obviously
know who I-
that coupled with my image, which obviously he's notified me is recording.
Yeah, obviously we do that because I'm open and honest. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
We record things so that you can see what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can
Absolutely,
see,
I
you know what
completely
mean?
agree
So-
with the use of body cameras.
because
Completely.
That's the thing is that
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
hide saying, "Oh no, I didn't say this to this man," or "This man didn't say anything."
No,
to
exactly.
me.
Exactly the same
That
reason
is
why I record any interaction I have with you as
Yeah,
well.
that's
you know.
why we record everything. I have to
yeah.
protect my back with
Of
the amount
course.
of people have said we do things.
Of
and
course.
we don't.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I
with
mean?
your collar number and that, obviously you're bound. You have to identify. You did
Yeah,
it correctly
you can see,
verbally
I mean,
because you
in
can't
uniform,
guarantee
there's
that
my
I
collar
can
number
read.
there, you know what I mean?
But you have to wear that for
2376.
accountability reasons. That's why I'm entitled to have that, because you're dealing with a member of the public in a
Absolutely.
stop and account situation. Accountability, you have to identify yourself for that exact reason,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't seem to understand. And sorry, we got interrupted. Would you like the opportunity to identify?
4988 PC Biffin.
Sorry, what was-
PC Biffin.
and your collar number, please?
4988.
4988. There you go. Thank you. Would you like another opportunity?
No, I'm fine. thank you.
No, you're
Listen,
fine.
it
Okay, so
doesn't
you're just
make-
going to be an absolute idiot
No,
about it.
he,
I'm not
he's
gonna
got,
know.
Well, I mean, you
because
are.
He's got other jobs and that, and you know we have to rely
Yes,
on
but
that.
you have a collar number for the specific reason, as we've just heard us discuss, for accountability reasons. You're making a very large assumption that I have the ability to read that my eyesight is good enough to read that.
These two officers have identified, and if you do
Yep.
need my details, they can be.
Okay, it's
that's
still,
when-
that's
when
still,
you make your complaint,
again, that's not
fine.
your policy,
Okay,
so that's fine. I'll make a complaint to your
Okay,
chief
not a problem
constable,
at
that's
all.
not a problem.
Not a problem
Actually, I'll
at all.
probably go straight through the IOPC, because otherwise it goes to your local PSD and gets kicked down and
yeah, I
disregarded.
appreciate that. That's not a problem
Yeah,
at all. If you
no
just do
worries.
that, that's absolutely
Just get a
fine.
nice picture of your face as well, so I can just make sure that goes to the right person.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there anything else I can
Lovely.
help you with today, sir?
No, like I said, you know, obviously, I've made the issue of that window, and I've made that aware.
Which I'm literally going to go speak to my inspector.
Yeah,
now.
and that's fantastic. Obviously, if I were to say to come back in half an hour and I walk back and that window's open again, you're now willfully and negligently.
The professional officer re-enters and brings the tone back down. She listens, acknowledges the concerns, and agrees to pass them to her inspector. The auditor, still cautious, accepts that as a reasonable step. The air clears, and the exchange becomes human again. Two people doing what the first two officers couldn't: communicate. It's the kind of measured resolution that turns confrontation into progress, and it shows that professionalism still exists when pride steps aside.
You've been very professional. Straight away identified yourself, told me that you're recording a little bit later than I would have liked, but...
Sorry, yeah, I was there, my colleague spoke to me.
Yeah,
on that, so I'd say
exactly.
he was telling
Yeah,
me
you
about
weren't the one
windows,
directly
so-
engaging with me, I was talking to him, so I understand
Yeah.
that, but he had every opportunity.
That's fine. Like I said,
you know.
I'm going to go back and speak to my inspector about
Yeah, yeah.
authorised personnel signs.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if we can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I
Again,
said,
not everybody's going to
never-
respect those
no.
signs, but at least then you've got the footing of you've been notified
I
of
mean,
trespassing before you've entered into
We
the
are a
site,
police
you
station.
know.
We want the public to be able to come and ask us for help. That's what we're here for.
Yeah,
We're here
yeah.
to help
Yeah,
the
yeah.
public in their times of stress and
Yeah, yeah.
everything like that. We don't want to be unwelcoming either.
No, of course. Like I said to
We
your
don't
colleagues
feel-
when they first came out, the
Yeah.
non-uniform, you've got a sign on that door which is clearly for public information that says, you know,
Don't-
if the office is closed,
yeah.
call 101. That's obviously for public information.
Yeah.
And if you put that there, it's almost an expectation that the public are expected to be there.
Well, because it's not closed, you know. It's
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
We
So,
don't have a closed phone service.
No, no.
So you can't come in. Obviously, we have to try and protect ourselves because you get members of the public that try to do harm to the police.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't like the police.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But-
Anti-police. They try. We've had screws put by the tyres
okay.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why they were just checking
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure.
But then
you
obviously,
weren't
I'm
doing
sure
any
you've got
harm.
CCTV around a sign saying you
Yeah,
have
we
and
do.
that.
Yeah,
And obviously, I'm walking around, my face is uncovered. I'm not making any efforts to hide myself. I'm not trying to be covert.
No.
You know, otherwise I wouldn't have made myself apparent to the person in the window. You know, I would have.
Yeah.
You know, if I had nefarious intent with that information, I would have stood there and filmed it for as long as I could before I got noticed and not said anything. That would have been, you know, if I had nefarious intent with it.
Yeah, I can see
you
that.
know.
I think it's just, you know, you pointed out a thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm going to go speak to my inspector now.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm hoping that you're not going to like have any nefarious things about putting spikes or
Okay,
anything
like,
like that.
if I was, I'm on your body cameras. My face is quite clear. Like, I don't think it would be difficult
But
for.
I'm just saying, you know what I
for you
mean?
to figure it out,
We're going to
yeah.
go back. We're going to leave you to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I fully appreciate it. Like, again, I'm not the anti-police. I'm anti-police like that who don't want to follow policies and think they're above doing what they're supposed to do. But you've been fantastic, and
it's people's
you know.
experiences, isn't it?
Yeah,
Some people have
but
had
as
bad
constables, you
experiences.
should approach every situation independently, shouldn't you? Really.
It is hard because we're human beings. At the end of
I
the
know,
day.
I get that, but you're held to
You
a
know what I
much
mean?
higher standard because of the job role that you take
It
on. You
is,
know, you
it
take an
is.
oath to the crown of this country, and we expect you to
100%,
live
but you know what I mean? It can
your
be hard
life to
when you've
that.
got members of the public
Yeah,
who want
yeah.
us, harm us punch us every day.
Yeah, sure, but but then we say as members of the public, we have police officers that want to do that to us, and it does happen. You can't deny that it does.
I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah, so we have the same thing.
We generalise.
Yeah. Again, but I will give everybody their fair dues. Like I've given you, I've had a polite conversation with you, and I've told you thank you for doing your job as you're supposed to do, following your policies, and I will give everybody their fair dues, and that's all we expect from the police as well. We expect that two-way street. At the end of the day,
we do try and work a two-way street.
the confidence in policing in this country is plummeting, and we're trying to build. We like to try and build the bridges rather than tear them down. But we don't want people that. If he's not willing to follow simple policies, how can we expect him to follow the ones that actually are way more serious? It starts with the basic level, and that's what it's like. School uniform. If you can't be bothered to do your school uniform, how can you wear your uniform at work? They don't expect that. It's an indicator of you're not going to be bothered to do your job properly or learn properly, and that's what it's about. If you can't follow your basic policies, how on earth can we have the confidence in you to do your job when it really matters? And that's the kind of people that we don't want in our police forces, is people that, if they can't follow the simple stuff, how can we trust them to do anything?
The longest and most revealing dialogue unfolds here. The auditor and officer talk about public confidence, police standards, and the meaning of accountability. He explains that discipline starts with the small things: identification, policy, conduct. Because if officers can't follow the basics, how can they be trusted with greater powers? She listens, occasionally defending her colleagues, but mostly understanding. It's not anger now, it's perspective. This part ends on reflection, not argument, a reminder that true accountability isn't about humiliation, it's about demanding better from those who serve. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.